And my next guest was a Tea Party favorite during the 2010 midterm election and experienced firsthand the vicious attacks of the mainstream media. And while Christine O'Donnell was unsuccessful in defeating Chris Coons in the Senate race that year, she's still fighting for the Tea Party principles. And she explains why. Her brand new book, Troublemaker, What It Takes to Make America Great Again. Christine O'Donnell, good to see you. Welcome back. How are you?
Thank you.
It's not easy to put your neck out there and get beaten up, and it's not fun.
No, it's not, but more troublemakers need to step up to the plate and put their name in the ballots and challenge the status quo if we're going to get our country back. And that's what I hope that this book does. I talk about the stories and everything that I had to fight against ever since I made the decision to run. Yeah. How the establishment will not always welcome you with open arms. And
look, I've experienced this during the last debate, for example, over the debt ceiling. I like cut, cap, and balance. I like the Ryan plan. So when I agreed with the Republicans, fine. I didn't like the compromise deal. Right. And, then all of a sudden, well, I'm like, I'm sorry, but I wrote a book, Conservative Victory. I didn't write a book, Republican Victory. Right. And I think for the Republican Party to reemerge, they've got to stand on those principles. Well, the Tea Party's reminding them of that.
Absolutely, and it's not just, the Tea Party isn't made just of Republicans. It's Democrats, it's independents, it's people who are frustrated with establishment politics. And as I define the establishment in my book, the establishment is anyone who's willing to compromise their principles, to step on people in order to get ahead. And what the Tea Party is reminding those in Washington and those who play the, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine game, is that there's an ideological reawakening that's happening. Mm-hmm. And that's where our hope lies for our country.
That's what we were just saying in the last segment. I do think there is a huge conservative ascendancy. This was the second most attended straw poll in Iowa history.
Wow.
Which is pretty interesting. We saw the 2010 midterm election results. The argument that they're making, and already apparently you're in a battle with Mike Castle's people and both the establishment, which, I guess if they don't like what you say, too bad.
Exactly. This is my book.
Yeah, it's your book. All right. But the argument was then and is now, well, he had a better chance of winning because he's more, quote, moderate.
Right.
And that argument is made a lot. And I think there are instances, maybe there may be some truth to that, but how willing, I guess you have to decide, people have to decide, maybe a candidate's more electable, but maybe just basically electing a watered-down Democrat.
Right. Well, it's not only that. And again, I get it. This book is not just some of the behind-the-scenes stories, but we get into the wonky stuff showing that that's not actually true. Mm-hmm. Mike Castle was dipping in the polls way before I beat him because people are waking up and recognizing that what Republicans in name only and liberal Democrats, what establishment politicians represent does not help the country. And I think the electorate is more educated than ever, and they know the principles on which our country was founded. They know the common sense principles, like you brought up the whole debt thing. Why were we all shocked that our credit rating went down? That would happen to any family.
The fascinating thing about that is that had the Tea Party plan been adopted, had cut, cap, and balance been adopted, it met the stated standard of S&P to avoid a downgrade.
Right.
The Tea Party, and it was interesting because the Democrats started, this is the Tea Party downgrade. No, this is President downgrade's downgrade.
Exactly. We were in trouble way before the Tea Party came on the scenes. The Tea Party are the ones who are willing to say that the emperor has no clothes. And what they're trying to do is discredit the messenger in all of this. But what I'm hoping to do in my book is encourage people that any major step forward in American history has been because people have said enough is enough. They've taken the hits, and they've decided to forge on regardless of the attacks that come their way.
Look, I said to you before we came on the air, do you want me to run I'm a witch. I'm not a witch head. You wrote in detail, you were told it wasn't going to run.
Right.
So it ran.
Right.
I remember seeing it, and
I hated the ad. I never liked it.
Why did they get to run it if it's your campaign? Why did you allow that to happen?
Well, first of all, that is my mistake. I go into very much detail about the whole thinking behind it.
I'm glad to hear you're not a witch. I really was beginning to worry about it.
No, I know. But I go into detail about the thinking because there's a lesson.
It's not the audio. Don't worry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, the whole thing
You
is
should see
bad.
the first Hannity and Combs. It was, it was all. I know. I can feel your pain. Go ahead.
But there's a lesson in there because, first of all, I went against my gut, and everything that enabled us to win the primary, everything that enabled the victory in 2010 is because of this organic movement within the Tea Party that is not based on politics as usual, but based on instincts and the convictions of the people who are propelling this movement forward.
Last question. You going to run again?
I honestly don't know. We'll see.
All right. Christine O'Donnell, troublemaker that you are, it's good to see you.
Likewise. Thank you, Sean.